This demo shows the new life insurance process. As we can see, we have the main process in front of us, and I'm pointing out that there are like few input variables here. Now, this process is triggered by a client-based human service. As you can see here, there is a start process step, which will provide the inputs. And in this human service, there are like 3 screens that collect the data that's needed to send the new application to this process. We start by executing this human service. Okay, some information is pre-filled. We had to fill some others to be able to have enough to trigger the rules that get called in a later step. I have some kind of error here. Let's try this again. Okay. Here in the hover text has some instructions of passing and of failing values. So I'm going to pick a set of passing values. Type 150 for the weight, 130 for the blood pressure over 80, 60 inches for height, and click next. The rest of the fields are not used for the sample rules that we have. It doesn't matter what we put here, but we'll just put some amounts. Alright, we go ahead and click submit. We know this application ID is actually the process ID that was just started. Right. The human service is done, so now we go to process designer and we click on inspector. And as we can see here, there is a process instance ID that matches. Several steps already executed, including this decision service, the apply live product quotation. Just to quickly show what's in, what gets called by the human service, by the decision service. Here is one example of one of the decision tables that gets used in the rules. So, in my case, since I put the age less than 40 and 130 over 80 blood pressure, then the rating is Elite Plus, which passes the condition. So now we go back to Process Designer, and there is a coach where we can see the result of the decision service, which was here on the previous step, and we can decide to either accept or override that automatic decision. So let's claim the task. And here is the same information that was input by the user, but now it's read-only. And here is the result of the calling the rule service. That blood pressure, height, and weight passed, and underwriting risk was acceptable. So the determination is accept. But as an underwriter, I can either click to override that to be reject, or accept the decision from the rules. So I'm going to just leave it as accept, which will make the process continue. Going to just keep refreshing here. There are many steps in this process, but they are not implemented, but nevertheless they take some time to run. Data still gets passed back and forth for many of these, and as you can see, there goes many levels deep. Right now we are in some kind of anti-money laundering determination process, sub-process, and we finally finish. The last step is just a default human service just to like show us whether the process ended with like full completion or whether it was rejected. In this case, it finished to full completion. Uh, well, let's run this again, and this time, well, let me finish this one first, and we'll pick a non-passing value to have the decision be rejected. So we go back to our human service, we run it, and let's try this again. Okay. Now this time we're going to just pick just values for height and weight that are like known to be out of range, which will trigger a rejection by the rules. I'll leave this empty. Okay, let's go back to the inspector view here. Let's claim this task. And here is the result from the rules. Height was too short or too tall to evaluate, and the recommendation is to reject. We go ahead and leave that as reject, and this will cause the process to finish early. And as you can see, there are just few steps here, and the last step is just a default human service that like has the name rejection, just to just as an aid to show us that the process finished early. I'm actually going to claim it just to show that's the default default task. Right, so that's done. Oh, and let me refresh just to show that the process is terminated. Okay, and this concludes the demo.